Namaskar. Friends, we are again with our new uh, program that is again for the poetry exchange. This is the third one, and here we want to show that how the poetry when the poetry is read in many languages, how they look, and moreover, why it is important to change the body of poetry means the change the language of the poetry, because the poetry does not change, the meaning of the poetry does not change, but but sometimes it looks more beautiful in other languages. So the language, yes. So again, we have the Franca Israel. You know her that she was here in the starting of Kritya talk, and our friend Ashraf Abaul Yazid, who is always with us, and he is actually running this session. So he is behind this inspiration. So welcome, Roy, and welcome, Ashraf. We are again, this time, Ashraf, we are with 4 languages. But you know that Roy can speak 2 languages as mother tongue, French and Spanish. And she is very smart. She has translated my poetry in French and your poetry in Spanish.
Yeah.
So we have 4 languages, and because she is our guest, so we will start with her only. Ashraf, I want to talk to her about her poetic experience also. Do I talk, or you want to talk about it?
Yeah, we want to show these 2 minutes about Françoise. So it's a simple introduction to her work.
Okay, so I will show this film on Mrs. Roy, and here it is.
فرانسواز روي شاعرة ومترجمة ومصورة، لديها شهادة في الترجمة من الإنجليزية إلى الإسبانية، كما أنها درست التصوير الفوتوغرافي والجغرافيا الحضارية في جامعة ماريلاند كوليدج بارك بعد دراسة الجغرافيا العامة في جامعة فلوريدا. انخرطت بعد ذلك في كوليدج جيسوس ماري ديسيلري، وهي من سانت فوي في كيبك الكندية، لكنها تزوجت بعد ذلك وعاشت في المكسيك حتى الآن. في قصائد فرانسواز روي تروض الشاعرة المخيلة السريالية لتقرأ بها الحياة والواقع، مفردات تلتصق بحياة الأنثى والإنسان والشخص المهموم بقضايا عالمية تتجاوز حدودها الجغرافية، وقد أضاف التصوير لها حساسية شعرية تجدها في الصورة الشعرية، مثلما منحها تجوالها الإحساس بهموم العالم. من قصائدها الفريدة التي تعبر عن حب شجاع تقول بعنوان الموت: أنت تقول أنني بحاجة إلى شخص ميت، أهناك ما هو أكثر إيلاما في الحياة مثل الحاجة إلى جثة غطت طين فمه الذي كان يبتسم لي، جمد يديه التي كانت تتلمسني. هل رأيت مدى ثقل القبر؟ كيف تمنعه كتلة الرخام الأبيض من النهوض ليقول لي إنه ما زال يحبني؟ هل تعتقد أن بعض الخدع السحرية يمكن أن تحييه؟ كيف يمكنك أن تأمل في وضع جثته التي أعيد إحياؤها بالكامل في سرير أبحر بعيدا منذ فترة طويلة يحمله الانتفاخ الحتمي؟
It's a wonderful film, beautiful.
Beautiful.
This is made by Ashraf. He is fantastic. We are going to have one talk about the how to present in a film. He knows very well. I think he should start making films on most of the poets. He does wonderfully.
It's very moving.
Yeah,
it's very moving.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was thinking of this, that of course the film shows her experience as a or as a poetic life. I met her in 2012, I think, in to Francisco in a Kritya-Poetry festival, and that time I was too busy to see that how she is writing. But we have traveled together to an ashram to in a train, and there I saw that she was taking photo of each and everything, even the that railway officer came and scolded her that why you are taking because she was standing near the gate, and he said that you will fall down, and that he scolded, and then she was keep taking photos. So that passion I could see, and then I could see that how her eyes work for the photos, that even the dancer is dancing, but she will look only in her anklets. So her aim is only her feet, dancer's feet. So that kind of poetic images I could feel, because she has sent me photos. Uh, uh, Frankly speaking, though I meet her 2 3 times in another poetry festival, she is very popular in poetry festivals. But I was not reading her poetry very carefully, because I feel that translation is the best way to understand a poet.
Yes.
What you feel, Ashraf? Is it? Hello, Ashraf?
Actually, yes, I am with you, Ratiji. Actually, I take your mention to the photography to what I see
Oh,
in Francoise Roy's poems, because she's actually painting her poems. I mean, you cannot take out art and painting away from her words, because she is like imagining how to portray the womb, for example, giving birth, and where is this creatures going inside and moving. This, it needs some sort of imagination and some sort of course of experience. So in my few words, I wanted to say that she is an artist who is writing poetry, and she is a poet who is portraying and taking photographs.
Thank
that's
you
And
so much.
I
that
can,
yeah, yeah. Please, please. Uh,
myself using camera. Actually, when you use camera, they asked me, because as a photojournalist, I used to travel to countries and take photos, and they asked me, how can you take photographs, or what is the secret behind your photographs? I was telling them that I draw the capture or the image before capturing it by camera. It means what comes in photo, it was previously written or sketched in mind. And this actually what also Francois was doing.
Yeah, you have explained very well about her poetry and her artwork. She's really gifted. There is no doubt, and she was telling that she can write a book in 3 weeks. That is amazing. I cannot do that. So she's really gifted. Another thing I want to talk about your poetry. Before reading your poetry, we will read your translations, poetry translation. But when I without talking to you, without any explanation, when I was writing, then I find that your abstract word is very big, or bigger than your concrete word.
Mhm.
So you take the images from this concrete world, but you make it so abstract that unless you are very careful in catching the line, one have a translator can have difficulty. Here I can talk about the translator. Of course, when you listen these kind of poetry, they, because they have a this kind of poetry as what you say, spiritual kind of poetry. And for that, you for spiritual kind of poetry, you don't need wordings, you need to listen them, and then you feel, you enter in it. But when you translate, you have to enter in the words, and there
Yeah.
you loose. So you can talk about it, that you make it like in India we call bhul bhulaiya, that zigzag. So the translator, once he enter, that he can get lost in between. So you please talk about it, Franz.
Well, it's true. I mean, people, they often think that translating poetry has to do with feelings. It doesn't have to do much with feelings. It has to do with words. You just said it. What you're translating are words, and what translates into feelings is the image or the words or the things that are being said. But basically, poetry is working with words like almost like a construction worker, and this is really what the translator is doing. He's not working on images. He's not working on feelings. He's working on words. And if the poetry is well written and well translated, then the feelings will come. But it's basically working with words like uh, like dough, like if you're making bread. That's what translating is. And that's why translating poetry is difficult. It's not because poetry is the usually people think that in poetry there is more feeling than in other literary genders. It's not. The thing is, poetry, the words used in poetry are more difficult than in other literary genders. That's why it's very hard to translate poetry. But when people say that it's not translatable, it's not true. Anything is translatable. I mean, we're all human beings. We all feel the same joys, the same tears, we basically have the same dreams, no matter what religion or what country we live in. So this is what is being translated. That's why we have language. And that's why we have so many languages. And in any language, you have the word sky, you have the word tears, you have the word sadness. So this is really what it's working with words. You said it right. It's working with words. That's what it is. And even writing poetry is it's about words. It's about
Yeah,
words.
I feel even the writing poetry or painting itself is a translating our own images or our own feeling or our own emotions. So
I like
translation is
images.
always there.
They come very clear to my mind, images.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I feel something and then I can see the image, like a painting or like a photography or like a scene of a movie. So, and that's why in arts, the things that you can see are the ones that I love most. I love movies, I love dance, I love painting and photography because I can see things. Uh-huh. So.
Very good. Ashraf, do we start reading his poem?
Yeah, Francois' poem. I can read one of hers before coming to my poems.
Uh-huh. No, you can say you can go explain your point first and then you read. No problem.
There is one poem. I think this is the first in your collection of carriages. She says عن العربات دائما ما تكون الإشارة الأخيرة هي الأكثر إرباكا. هل هي حقا عربة زرقاء تشق غلالة الضباب أم أنه مدرب شحاذ سحبه كلبان سلوقيان؟ هل أنا جالس على اليسار أم اليمين أم الأفضل من ذلك كله النقاط الأساسية تغيير الأماكن حسب زاوية العين التي تراقب؟ أشرت لقرية بها كناسة مدينة، القرية التي ضاعت في الثلج كان لديها كناسة، لكن في تلك الساعة التاسعة عندما غابت الشمس إلى 28 درجة قبل الانقلاب الشمسي كان شهر ديسمبر باردا، كانت الأرض الثلجية على وشك أن تحرر فجرا يشبه حمامة محمومة في قبضة الليل نصف المغلقة. غالبة سبات ولم غالبه السبات ولم يكنس الشارع إلا في الأحلام ومكنسته بالداخل. أعطيك صورة عربة السماء الزرقاء. لقد ولدت في الساعة 4:35 صباحا. صعد الصقيع حتى صار حلقي كي يكمل صرخة البكاء الأول. حركت تنورة الضباب بيدي. كانت أصابعي حديثة الولادة شفرات سكين. Actually, this poem is something like theater. We are in a theater watching this carriage coming into the mist and difficult to observe what is next and where are you. Thank you, Francoise, for this poem.
What is the name of this poem in English? Can you tell me?
In English, it is. Wow, I can't remember. I know the poem. It's about. Well, it's about a very sad thing. It's about my mother who abandoned me when I was born. So, and I was born. I was
She
born.
was okay. She was
It's
approached. Yeah, she was
no,
approached by.
it has to do with a carriage. I don't know if you have it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if I sent you the same poems, but it's about a carriage entering because I was born on December 21st
Wow.
in a
Yeah,
Nordic
yeah.
country,
It
so
is.
that it was
Is
probably
mentioning. It is
snowing.
mentioning the date.
Yeah.
So it is actually a wonderful poem, but I don't have this in Hindi.
Okay.
So do I read another poem?
Yeah.
Asha?
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
Anyway, I think nobody hearing knows Arabic and Hindi and English at the same time, so they will hear the sound of it.
We are not giving lessons. We are
Yes.
giving a show.
It's wonderful to hear it in another language. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Yes.
See, this I'm as I said that I'm reading a poem which is Water Wheel of the Soul, and I was very much interested the moment I saw this topic, and I because you know that um, my study or my I'm a student of Indian philosophy, ancient philosophy, and ancient literature. So that soul is very much common in a Greek or an Indian, and I think Persian and other many old civilization. And which while translating this poem, now only when I talk to you, I find that there were images which were very close to Indian astrology also. That she has used the Greek astrology images, which was common in Indian astrology also. While now only I talked to her and I could find out. So that was actually the thing. So I will read first poem, The Water Wheel of the Soul, आत्मा का जल चक्र। हर एक शनि के लौटने वाले दिन सलीब का कुंदा, जो कि ग्रीक में कहलाता है, वक्त का प्रेमी क्रोनस कहलाता है। वही शनि घावों का स्टॉप वॉच, दिखावटी गुलदस्ता, वीरान में सुरक्षित चरागाह। क्या मेरी देह ने विषुवत रेखा पार कर ली? ओ पिता, राह में कितने पत्थर पड़े हैं, हम सूरज की तरह नृत्य में रत हैं। आत्मा का जल चक्र बैसाखियों पर है, तालियां मार से नहीं जो नहाने योग्य है। दूसरे किनारों से आने वाली अन्य पसलियों का पिंजरा, दूसरा दिन और अधिक दोहराव गुलदस्ता। और समझना कि आज हमारे ओठों को जलाने वाला क्या है, कि दूसरे अंग और अधिक नाजुक है। This was actually the poem. Why I understand, I will try to read in English also. Water wheel of the soul, arm of the cross to bear each Saturn return, the one which is Greek lovers of the time called Cronus. Stopwatch of wounds and superficial flowers, safe pastures deserted since my body crossed the tropic line. Oh, Dad, so much stone along the road, and we were like suns dancing in unison, only to seem like dancers, water wheel of the soul, split on the streets, will not carried by a cutwater come from other beds, our ribs, cages, another yesterday, requiring still more days to retrace and to understand what today burns our lips and other parts is still more fragile. Uh, I was actually very much
I have
interested.
this poem in Arabic, Ratiji. This poem I can read in Arabic now
Yeah,
to
please, please,
finish,
please,
to
please
complete the experience.
complete that experience, please.
Yeah. ساقية الروح، ساقية الروح، ذراع صليب يحمل كل عودة لزحل، تلك التي سماها اليونانيون عشاق الزمن كرونوس. ساعة توقيت الجروح والزهور الصناعية، مراع آمنة مقفرة ومقفرة، منذ أن عبر جسدي خط الاستواء. يا أبي ما أكثر الأحجار على طول الطريق، وكنا كالشموس نرقص في انسجام تام فقط ليبدو قراقصين. عجلة الروح، الروح على ركائز لن يحملها مقدم السفينة، تأتي من أسطح أخرى، أقفاص صدرية أخرى، يوم أمس آخر، لا يزال يحتاج أياما أكثر للتواصل لنفهم ما يحرق شفاهنا اليوم، وأجزاء أخرى لا تزال أكثر هشاشة.
Hey, this is so beautiful. Na? This when the moment you change the language, the sounds. Na? In my sound, my language, the sounds come from the tip of my tongue and in the middle of my tongue. And his language, the sounds are
It's
coming
from
from
here.
from here
It's from the
and
throat.
from the throat, which is very difficult for me to
Yes.
because our language is on our tip of tongue or lips. Mostly we use lips, tongue, and then upper part. That's all. You go inside, and that makes more musical. So thank you very much. How do you like this poem,
Thank
Ashok?
you.
Can you explain this?
You know, as I told you, it is like a Greek drama. You know, this kind of the crest and the time watch is there, and this movement of the ship. It is like drama, which you
Uh,
react to that. I was singing, but I was singing like the choral in Greek drama. It is like weeping, not singing in happiness, but it is like weeping. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a this poem is from a book. It's a very sad book. It's a conversation with my father,
Mhm.
whom I
Yes.
cannot see much now because of a family drama. And this is like the things that I would like to tell my father if I could. If I
Mhm.
could say that without hurting him, which of course I don't want to hurt him, because now he's a very old man and
Mhm.
we've loved each other very much. So it's like my way to communicate with him. So this
Mhm.
poem has to do with me leaving, going to a tropical country and not being able to see him.
Mhm.
So this is what the poem is about. And Ashraf is right. It's a drama. The whole book is a Greek drama. The whole story.
Yeah, and I feel that even though it could be a personal experience of you, but the way you have expressed in this poem, it could be a personal experience of anyone,
It's
anyone who
universal.
read, universal, because you
Human
made it
nature.
universal. You
Human
because you
nature. Mhm.
yeah, you bought the Shani means Saturn, which is in our Indian astronomy also we have Shani Saturn, which comes and trouble you. So these things are very very universal. So thank you very much. Can you read in this Spanish the same poem or is French?
Oh,
In which
in Spanish, yes, I could read it, but I would have to go to get the book.
No, then which poem? Do you have any this poem in any language now? No.
Well, yeah, it's published in a book. It's published in Spanish, but I would have to go and get the book.
No, leave it then. We will go for another poem. No?
Okay.
So we will read now Ashraf's poem in Hindi first, and then we will read. You can also read his poem in Spanish.
In Spanish, yes, sure.
Yeah. So I have translated Ashraf's the 60 love poems and many other poems which he had bought in the internet. Beautiful book, which actually I feel that this is the time we should go for this. This is the time we should go for such books only, because anyone can read, because poetry is not giving anything. I have taken the printout and I kept somewhere. So Ashraf, Francais, will you read Ashraf's poem first? Then I will.
Let's see if I have them. If I did the same, tell me what the title is in English, and I can.
Now you can read any poem.
Okay.
We are.
Okay.
We agree. We agree that we need a Spanish flavor and Spanish tongue, Spanish language.
Great. Okay.
For the poems, yeah.
Okay, I will read the three first ones that I translated. The first one is about, well, in Arabic, it should be something like a map of a house far
Over
away,
there.
something like that. And the second one is like cuttings, like to cut things with scissors.
Yeah.
And the third one is called a jail. Okay, so I will read the three of them. They're short poems. Okay, I will start with the first one. Un mapa de una casa allá. Hay una casa donde vivo, allá. Lloriquea como los molinos de Don Quijote. Desde lejos parece una lápida. Si te acercas, me verás crucificado en su balcón, mirando las bandadas de gaviotas, mientras toco mis alas sin vida. Recortes. Vuelvo a buscar los recortes donde estaban escritos nuestros nombres, los recortes que compartimos buscando la rosa drenada por la ausencia en el cuaderno del amor. Una prisión. El prisionero, soñando, le pregunta a su guardia injusto: ¿cómo sabrías que no eres mi prisionero? ¿Acaso no nos separan los mismos barrotes? Okay. I have many more. So.
I cannot. Yes.
Go ahead.
For the next session, yeah.
Very beautiful.
Thank you.
You want one more?
Yes. Okay.
Can I read one more? Yeah, there is one that is. There is one that is very long. I can read some small ones.
Okay.
Very small ones. Okay, four poems. Bena. That's about your hometown, right? Bena?
Yes, Benha.
Okay,
Benha.
yeah, Benja. Okay. Benja. Como una teta en el pecho del río Nilo, Benja duerme y vierte su miel en mis sueños. Me pregunto, cuando llegue a casa, si podré recordar todos sus caminos, o si Benja recuerda mi cara con los nuevos caminos cansados grabados en ella. And then I'll read this very small one. It's a face. Probably in Arabic it says a face, like this, right? Yeah. Una cara. Cosecho mi cabeza, buscando el rostro de una muchacha ausente, a quien perdí en el camino techado de una mañana lluviosa. Mi memoria se mojó, pero no podía recordarla. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
It sounds well in Spanish too.
And I'd like you also to start reading for Yeah. I'd like you to start reading for Rati some of Rati's poems, so
Okay,
we can
sure.
start reading some. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Rati, I offered her to translate in French because I'm sure that she already has poems translated into Spanish, right? Because you have traveled to Latin America. So I decided to translate in French. The first poem is about laughter. I liked it very much. It's and right now with the tragedy we're living worldwide, laughter is very important. We have to
Very
laugh.
rare.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I will read it in English. The title is Laughter is a Prayer, I
Yeah.
think, right? Le rire est une prière. Le rire est une prière où il faut plusieurs intonations pour aller du gloussement au chant. Le gloussement réveille les dieux, mais c'est la première note de la chanson qui va se brancher sur le temps qui passe. La deuxième note du rire, ce sont les yeux qui la versent et non pas les lèvres. Le rire est une prière contre toutes les prières singulières et contre toutes les divinités qui oseraient dire de lui qu'il est malséant.
Thank you. I will read this poem in Hindi
Okay.
and give the story behind it. हंसी एक प्रार्थना है. हंसी एक प्रार्थना है जिसे दोहराव की जरूरत नहीं. आलाप से लेकर स्थाई पर पहुंचने के लिए सम्मिलित स्वरों की जरूरत होती है. हंसी का आलाप ईश्वर को जगाता है और स्थाई तक आते आते समय से जुड़ जाता है. हंसी का अंतरा सम के निकट होता है और ओठों की जगह आंखों से बह निकलता है. हंसी एक प्रार्थना है. उन सब अनदोहराई प्रार्थनाओं के विरुद्ध, उन सभी देवों के खिलाफ जो मेरे हंसी को बेहुदगी कहते हैं. Actually, this is a social poem also. I think beautiful cat. Hello.
Yeah,
How are you?
she's my little daughter. She wanted to come.
So, I think in every place, because in Europe also find that in my young age, or even my daughter's young age also, when the girls or women laugh loudly, it is called it is not taken very good thing for, and that is uncultured, or it is not allowed for the women. Every time you say that you cannot, or girls should not laugh so loudly, and women should not laugh so loudly.
Ah,
So
that's
I was
interesting.
this was there in Europe, how to smile and all this was the high class, even the middle class also. And I was laughing a lot, and that is how after a long time I don't write immediately any poem. It takes my feelings should get very stick, like you boil the milk for a long time and then only you get the essence things. The same way I also, after a long time, I could write this. I could say that laughter is a prayer, and so that is the poem I have. So thank you very much. It looks beautiful in French.
Yes.
Thank you. So Ashraf, I
I
want to
will.
read Ashraf's poem, one Hindi, because my Hindi audience are also there, and they should.
Okay, please.
I should.
Yes, yes.
I
So for
am.
them,
I am your. I am also your Hindi audience. I am.
because they are waiting for in Hindi, So
Yes.
this
Yes.
poem actually very difficult and different, and then I have chosen for this because it is talking about the war, no? And you are talking the this what you say that bombing, bombing
But,
the bombs that
um,
it is the images of this. So I have translated it like this: बमबारी की प्रतिछवियां चौराहे पर झील के हाथ जैसे चिकने फुटपाथों पर बमबारी हो रही है. मैंने एक बच्चे को देखा, उसका दोष यही था कि वे बेगुनाह है. भिखारी और पागल की मिलीजुली छवि वाला बहिष्कृत बड़े वर्ग द्वारा चौराहे की एक दुकान में एक स्त्री प्रवेश कर रही है. उसके कदम हवा के थपेड़ों से भी ज्यादा तेज हैं। उसने दुकानदार से बात की और उसने उसे सौंप दिया अपनी अलमारियों में से उसके पालने में से एक रोता हुआ बच्चा, और वह दूध पिलाने के लिए बैठ गई। उस वक्त दुकानदार अपनी घड़ी देख रहा था। उसने बच्चे को स्त्री के हाथ से छीन लिया और बच्चे स्त्री ने आखिर बचा हुआ सिक्का दिखाया और बच्चे को पूरा दूध पिलाने के लिए पूछ रही थी, लेकिन दुकानदार ने मना कर दिया। विशाल चौक में वह तिरस्कृत बच्चा चल रहा था। स्त्री दौड़ रही थी, वे टकरा गए, विस्फोट हुआ, चौराहे को गर्म खून से ढकते हुए जो जल्द ही जम गया। This is a terribly sad poem, and with many images. I think you know this images. He has used many images, and then very sad images. That image means that how a woman is giving money to a shopkeeper to feed her own child, and that is the image or the painful image of the war. So,
Yeah.
how did you write this poem?
Actually, this poem was published in 1989. It means 30
Oh,
years old.
Wow.
And yes, and by that time, it was some sort like surreal. No one could imagine that a mother is, trying to feed a baby on the shelf in a shop who is selling bodies of babies. It is something terrible. But actually, if you refer to this time in history in Egypt, it is like difficult thing. It is not only war, but it is the war against the values, the good values of the society. Because war is not only tanks, bombing, and fighters. It is also a war of values. But
Mhm.
the values we were feeling that it is collapsing, the good values are collapsing, and a new era of all corruption is coming up, and so on. So in this world of no value is respected, you feel like you are in a war. So war is not only by bombs or destruction or explosives, it is also war of society. You mentioned a few minutes ago about laughing, and laughing is also some sort of a value in the society. If
Mhm.
you go to some country, I will not mention, but I went to some country, the faces of the people are so fade and so like disasters. They are not smiling in public. It is
Mhm.
difficult that a society is feeling bad that much. So laughter is some sort of curing souls and spirits. You cannot be serious 24 hours, even if you are in a funeral. We are in an open funeral now. It's open. The whole world is exchanging condolences every morning. But at least you have to treat yourself with a smile.
Mm.
So it's important to tell you that this is old poem, but it is generated and regenerated because the disaster is not stopping, and it is coming in different phases. It is in 80s, it was a collapsing of values. Now it is collapsing of everything, actually.
Mm.
and this poem is talking about you know that this money-minded word also, uh, that the shopkeeper is taking money to feed from the
Yes.
mother to feed her child. So
Mm.
that's how this is terrible, a terrible image. But yes, this is the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mother who lost her own baby went to, because she want to feed. It means all mothers are want to give, are want to feel they are mothers. So she went to a shop selling babies because she want to feed a baby, even if that baby is strange, because she wanted to feel her motherhood. This is
Mm.
the
Oh,
way I was telling you.
Mm.
oh. It's a very painful poem, and I love
Yeah.
it. Same time, it is very, and it is a universal, and it is an all-time poem. Poetry is almost all-time because human experience is very common. That's what I feel that even maybe the language is different, maybe your images, the use of images are different, but we are almost saying the same thing in any language. That is why the translation, that is what we say that poetry exchange.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Can can
uh,
can I read one poem of your poems, Ratiji? You know, you are talking about ant,
yeah, yeah.
the wings. Yeah,
Wings
Yes.
the
of
wings
Yeah, I saw
of
this
an
one. I did
of
not
an ant.
translate all of. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But you know, you will discover it is not the ant. It is the human being or the woman or the little girl. Yeah, this is the way. You know, in translating, some secret is there. Francoise has her own secrets about translating, how to translate from one language to one or more. You have, Ratiji, you have some secrets. I have my own secrets that
yeah,
I am making some sort of vocabulary for everyone I am translating for. That because I know that poets are swimming or flying in a certain vocabulary. So, but he is or she is bringing all thoughts or values or images to through this certain vocabulary. So you are interested in creatures, you are interested in nature, and you are interested in everything, trees, animals, insects, but through this world you are making your own world through your own vocabulary. I am reading this, the wings of an ant. أجنحة نملة. يقولون أن النملة ليس لها أجنحة، وحتى لو فعلت فلن تستطيع الطيران. فإذا كانت لا تستطيع الطيران فلماذا تعاني من ألم الأجنحة؟ موت النملة يمتطي جناحيها، لكن الموت بحد ذاته هروب. بدأت النملة في الطيران بواسطة الضوء الأزرق الباهت والانحناء بجناحيها نحو الجنوب ووهم الصمت بقلب الضوضاء. طارت نحو الضوء الأصفر ضد حياتها، تحمل الطيران في كل خلية بها، رأت بذور الطيران للجيل القادم. So if this uh, ant of our generation is not flying, so she is preparing the next generation to fly. And this is the message that whatever we are doing, we are not doing only for ourselves, we are fighting for another generation to come. Thank you,
it is
Ratiji.
thank you very much. I tell you that my poetry, the style of my poetry is little different. One thing is that I learned to talk to creatures because of my Vedic studies, because those were my subject. I study this not as a religion, I study as a poetry. And when I read the poetry, I find those people in the starting, when they were talking, they were talking about anyone, everyone. For them, even the grass, even everyone was their subject. They were talking about anything. So it means their subject is very vast. Another thing was that I feel I was taught by my teacher because, like other students, were also very interested in using beautiful languages. What you say that in classical languages while writing. So my teacher who was teaching our Vedic, and he says that when you read the Upanishads and philosophy, they are using very simple language. So the most deep philosophy can be taught in a most simple language. So
Very
when
correct.
so that is why these are philosophical poems, but the images and the language are very simple, which I learned, I think, by myself. So that is why my poem, I get a very good translation
Yeah,
most of the time, because people can enter in my language.
yeah.
And once if they
What?
catch my words,
Yeah.
yeah, tell me, please.
One more thing I'd like to say before reading a poem. It's about mother, and this
Mm,
poem I read to my wife, to my daughters, because it reminds them with our late mother-in-law. Actually, uh, uh, in these societies, Egypt, Mexico, and Egypt, India, you have certain common values and common
Yeah.
traditions. So that is why we understand you very well. Also, if you are talking about this, about that the mother, a mother used to save, because
mm,
this is everywhere in
everywhere.
our society, and I think also it is in Mexico. آه،
Mm,
الأم الأم تعتاد الحفظ. مخزن الأم لم يكن خاويا أبدا تحت أي حال من الأحوال. احتفظت بالزيوت والحبوب والمخللات والفول، الملح في الأواني الفخارية، والجرار الزجاجية بها الزنجبيل، كلها تعيش لقرون في مخزنها السحري، ومتاح في لحظة وبدون أغنية تقول افتح يا سمسم. حفظت الأم الجسد أيضا، وخصرها ووركيها 7 جياع ولدوا واحدا تلو الآخر، وللجيل القادم أن تحب شعور الجدة الناعم الحلو. وقامت بحفظ الأساطير والقصص، إيقاعات غير معروفة، خطوات لأحلام الأحفاد، طريقة لإبقائها معهم بعد فترة طويلة من رحيلها. في لحظاتها الأخيرة، كانت الأخيرة، تركت الأنفاس لبناتها منزلا من خلاله تستمر في الذوبان، مثل كيس السكر في الماء. You know, this last scene, that it is true that in her final moments, her last breath after her daughter's at home or a home, it means through which she keeps dissolving like a sugar packet into water. This is the way, you are transferring a daily life image to be eternal poem and poetry. Thank you again.
Thank you. He also, Enrico also loved this poem very much. And that last line, especially, he loved this last line.
Uh-huh.
And he has immediately translated in Spanish. He told me that he has translated half of the poems, but his laptop has gone, so we do not know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much. It looks beautiful in your language, or Albi language. And do I read one poem of Franca's in Hindi? She
Okay.
was
Yeah.
approached by death. That is also very, very beautiful poem. But it is yes, death should be accepted with love also.
Uh-huh.
That is, she was approached by death. मौत ने उसे याद किया, जिसने उसे इस तरह सहलाया मानो कि पछुआ हवा दरख्त को सहलाती है। उसे मालूम नहीं था कि मौत अपरिहार्य है। उसने तो मौत को आमंत्रित कर लिया था। उन दोनों ने साथ-साथ दुर्भाग्य की मेज पर अंगूर और ब्रेड खाई। मौत ने उसे याद किया और ताबूत में लिटवा दिया। जिससे उसकी मौत को माप सके और अमरता को जांच सके। उसे मालूम ही नहीं था कि मौत नमक हराम है। इसलिए वह अपने पसंद के ताबूत में सो गई, बिना इस संशय की कि मौत ढक्कन बंद कर देगी। This image is so beautiful and very clear and very sarcastic, because how the death comes and how it cheats us, or maybe we feel that we are cheated
Uh,
by it.
this poem was in that short film. I choose to read that poem in that short
Please,
film.
Yes, yes, I
please read it.
recognize it. Yes.
Please read it. Please read it, Ashraf. Ashraf,
I
are you
will read
reading
it
this
for,
book?
yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
will read it. Yeah, I will read it.
yeah. It's a beautiful poem. uh, here the death is sweet, soft sometime, and the same time it unknowingly cheat you. And it happens now that suddenly somebody go to a hospital and disappear. It
Yeah.
is happening now.
Yeah,
We can see this.
Yes. I
yeah.
I wrote this poem.
أنت أنت
Mhm. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
أنت
I wrote
تقول
this
أنني
poem to my.
بحاجة إلى شخص ميت.
Okay.
أنت تقول أنني بحاجة إلى شخص ميت. أهناك ما هو أكثر إيلاما في الحياة مثل الحاجة إلى جثة؟ غطى الطين فمه الذي كان يبتسم لي، جمد يديه التي كانت تتلمسني. هل رأيت مدى ثقل القبر؟ كيف تمنعه كتلة الرخام الأبيض من النهوض ليقول لي أنه ما زال يحبني؟ هل تعتقد أن بعض الخدع السحرية يمكن أن تحييه؟ كيف يمكنك أن تأمل في وضع جثته التي أعيد إحياؤها بالكامل في سرير أبحر بعيدا منذ فترة طويلة يحمله الانتفاخ الحتمي؟ Yes.
Beautiful. Franca, is now you can read some poems.
Yes.
Your choice.
Okay. Yours or Ashraf's?
Ashraf's first.
Okay. Okay. I will
Alph-
read this.
alph-
This.
alph-
There is one that.
alphabetically.
Okay. This one, I don't remember how it was in English, but it has like 10 sections. It's 10 very small.
Yeah.
See?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will start with number one. Okay. Uno. ¿Pintarás una herida o lo vas a tapar con maquillaje como lo hiciste ayer? La misma herida desdibujada de un corazón abandonando la familia que se convirtió en un rincón húmedo. 2. Las aves fueron consumidas por el exilio. ¿Cuándo vas a cortar las alas de la lejanía? 3. En los países aprendimos a ver, perdimos nuestros ojos. Entonces, ¿cuándo podríamos deshacernos del recuerdo del silencio? 4. ¿Por qué vino la mesa con copa y rosas? ¿Por qué apareció la mesera del café mientras que la mujer con la que teníamos una cita brilló por su ausencia? 5. ¿Podría divisirse el mar más peligroso con una rama verde? 6. ¿Quién prenderá fuego a la hierba bajo mis pies descalzos cuando la deje? 7. ¿Es el mismo cielo abajo del cual duerme mi cuarto? ¿Son las mismas estrellas que iluminan mi balcón? Entonces, ¿por qué está la noche aquí? Siempre muestra cara tristes al rostro de mi soledad. 8. Mi corazón es la toalla de sus masacres. Entonces, ¿mis ojos no lloraron? 9. 70 mares de tristeza viajan en nuestra sangre, 70 mares sin litoral. ¿Por qué es así? 10. ¿Por qué matamos la letra cuando su punto deja la cárcel de paredes sólidas? Okay, and I said because it's a letter in Arabic and I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, this is the one.
It's a very beautiful. Well, very beautiful. But there is a note I understood after because there is a footnote in the poem
Yeah.
explaining the letter.
Yeah. It
Okay.
is letter noon. Noon is a symbol of women. The
Okay.
letter noon, it is pronounced noon, which is a letter for women. If you
Okay.
say hunna, it means you are referring to women. So
Okay.
it says in English, it's why do we kill the letter noon
Uh-huh.
when its dot is leaving the jail with solid walls? Because
Yes.
there's a dot inside and the rest of the letter is like wall, so it is a jail. It looks like a jail. Where is the dot? The dot of women. It means women is jailed or present inside
Yes,
this letter.
very beautiful.
I have a yeah, such kind of gimmicks with the language and the spatial language signatures. You know, they are very difficult to translate, but very interesting sometimes. I give you one
Yeah.
example because we are talking about the translation. In Malayalam, there is a sound called ra, ra. That is very difficult. In other Indian language, do not have. Only in Malayalam it has ra, mara. So ra, and that sound is very common in Malayalam language. So Ayappa Panikar has written poetry. It was a fun poetry, but this sound was repeating. So മഴ ഇങ്ങനെ കുണു 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 വഴി ഇങ്ങനെ ഗുളു 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 ഗുളു. So like that, it was this sound was repeating, and I have translated his. I got award by translating his poetry, and I was translating his poems. So he challenged me that why don't you translate this poem? This is a. I said this sound is not there in my language. How can I translate this? So he said that you go to nearest language, nearest word. So to this, and then I said, okay, Barsat. But I didn't keep I just keep the what is the sound with the nearest sound, but I didn't translate his lines. So it was also a gimmick. So the translating a gimmick poetry from another gimmick poetry was also a fun. Actually, I enjoyed it. And and someone told me that he is a great good translator. He said that this is the best example of a translation, because you are translating which is not there in your own language,
Yeah.
and it is a gimmick. It is a fun poetry, but it was interesting. So sometimes very interesting to translate the sounds. So what we do
Yeah.
now, which poems we should read?
We need Francoise to end with reading a poem for you, because we started with her poem and we need to finish with your poem.
Yes.
Please, Francoise.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay. Thank you very much.
okay. Okay. I will read this poem about dust that I like very much. Okay. Which is dust is a universal metaphor, really. We have dust everywhere. I know in Egypt you have a lot of dust because it's a dry climate. And in Mexico we have a lot of dust too because it's very dry here in the mountains. So okay. So dust is symbol of time passing, and I think in India, maybe because the bodies are cremated, maybe dust has even more meaning, right?
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. That dust is actually the image of how you enter at death. We say that after the death, everything becomes dust.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Same
so
thing in
so it is actually the end of the life. This world's
okay.
life also. Yes.
Okay, so in this poem, Rati she's talking about dust, like if dust were a person. Okay,
Mhm.
so I will read it. Un hymne à la poussière. Comme je t'envie, ô chère poussière, j'envie ton amour envers les livres, un amour si profond qui traverse chaque page et qui les lèche une par une. Tu écris une histoire inconnue à propos de ton voyage, des endroits où tu mets le cap et où les livres fleurissent sur les arbres et les mots mûrissent comme des fruits. Ô chère poussière, ton voyage est si réfléchi que même la pointe du stylo devient lourde. Telle est la nouveauté de ton va-et-vient qui ne peut pas être détruit sans s'accumuler dans les poumons. Ô chère poussière, combien de choses te plaît-il de lire, combien de connaissances à transmettre, au point où même les livres oublient leurs écrits pour écouter bouche bée ta narration. Ô chère poussière, je sais que je viendrai à toi un jour me changer en poussière, jour et nuit, pour t'accompagner à jamais. It's a
Thank you.
very universal poem. Anything that has to do with death and being born are the most universal things. All civilizations have to deal with that.
Yeah, all civilization accept this, and moreover, the dust is. I was very interested in dust. Actually, this happens with for me. Everything is live. Even the dust, cockroach. Even I have not given you some poems of this spider,
Yes,
and all. So for me, these people are very, very close to me who talk to me. And even my body pain, I will give you sometime body pain poem. He knows, Ashraf knows my body pain poem. That dust, actually, the another thing was in dust means that as a writer, we always feel that before us, the dust enter in the book, as if she wants to read before us. So
yeah,
it is actually a kind of jealous also, means I have not started reading and you have started reading even.
yes,
That is very interesting thing. And so where if you see the nature around you, that if you start talking to them, each and everything, they create. Actually, I tell you, I do not know Ashraf knows this or not. The women who stay at home, who are not able to go out, they started talking to their utensils in the kitchen. Yeah, and yeah, it happened. My sister was telling me that, like, oh cooker, why you are sitting here? Why you have opened your mouth? Why didn't you close your mouth? Why you are sitting this? Oh, the pan, why you are doing this? Like this, she keep talking to these utensils and other things. Actually, she was lonely. She is lonely, and because of this loneliness, then you create, you connect to each and everything, you know?
yes.
And that is how you communicate with them, and sometimes you get your reply also. So, do I read this poem Hindi, Ashraf? Yeah?
Yes, yes, please.
Uh, Actually, I have written the
Read,
Richa
yeah.
Dhul ke liye. Richa means actually hymn. Hymn in a Vedas we have hymn, no hymns. So it is a Richa धूल के लिए. मैं जलनखोर हो रही हूँ मुई धूल तुझसे, तेरे इस पुस्तक प्रेम से. कितना प्यार है तुझे कि पन्ने की सरान में चली आती है भीतर, हर्फ दर हर्फ जागती हुई लिख देती है कोई अनबूझी कहानी. तेरी यात्राओं की उन दिशाओं की जहाँ किताबें पेड़ पर फलती हैं, जहाँ शब्द फलों पे से पकते हैं. वही धूल. कितनी महीन है तेरी विचार यात्रा कि कलम की नोक पर भी भारी पड़ जाती है, और कितना नया होता है तेरा आना जाना कि तुझे बिना फेफड़ों में समेटे फेंका भी नहीं जाया जाता. वही धूल तू कितना पढ़ लेती है, कितना उधेड़ देती है अपना ज्ञान कि किताबें भूल जाती अपना लिखा पढ़ा, और मुंह बाएं खुल सुनती रहती हैं तेरे गीत. वही धूल. मुझे आना है तेरे पास एक दिन, लेकिन खाक हो रही हूँ हर दिन तेरे साथ पल हर पल. The thing is that मुई शब्द cannot be translated into English. If we talk, maybe it could be translated into Arabic. It is very close to Amui is actually when you call someone, actually you are scolding as well as you are. It is a loving. You know, like sometime your child, you use some uh, thing like that. You are scolding same way, same time you are loving. Your show and affection. So that word was not in English. So that word has not come in translation. Muidhul. Muidhul. Even I like that. Muidhul means, oh, uh, what a bloody. In English, when we say bloody, it is a very harsh word. But when we say mui, it is a very sweet word. So I'm searching
I
that if
see.
I get when we say a bloody fellow, that it is harsh. But mui dhul is a very sweet something very close to naughty dhul, or uh, dhul means dust, the naughty dust, or like that. So thank you very much. I love this poem very
Thank you.
much. So Ashraf, now last you. Yeah, please read your poem now, or I read your poem.
I
Tell me.
you know, you can read some of these few love
Mm.
letters, 60 love letters.
I read. I love them. I love them.
Okay. Oh, okay. You read few, and we can conclude with this.
Okay. So because I have read two,
Yeah,
three letters.
you can read in Hindi.
Uh,
You can read few poems in Hindi from this
mm,
collection.
okay. Okay. So I will read every stanza from starting. उसके नाम 60 प्रेम पत्र, चीजों को उसका नाम देना मुश्किल है और ये समझना भी मुश्किल है कि प्यार में बस 4 अक्षर हैं और अक्षरों के झुंड, इतने सारे अक्षरों के झुंड में। मैंने क्रिसमस पर खिड़की के शीशों पर बर्फ के फाहे नहीं देखे हैं, मैंने दूर दराज के खेत से बेरियां नहीं चुनी, मैंने जंगली नरगिस की पंखुड़ियां भी नहीं गिनी। फिर मैं कैसे कह सकता हूँ कि हमारा आलिंगन खिड़की के शीशे पर पिघलते बर्फ के फाहे सा है, जहां से पानी बेरियों के खेतों में चला जाता है और नरगिस की पंखुड़ियों को उगाने के लिए किसकी जरूरत होती है, कविता की या प्यार की? मुझे परवाह नहीं इतिहास की, मैं नहीं बदलना चाहता पुराने कानून, ना ही परिवर्तन लाना चाहता हूँ। मैं तुम्हारे पास आया हूँ लिखने के लिए अथवा दूसरा इतिहास बनाने के लिए। तुम्हारे पास तक आने वाले रास्ते में मैंने हजारों युद्ध लड़े, धरती बरसात के चुंबन के लिए जूझ रही है, पशु घास की खोज में पीड़ादायक स्मृतियों को याद करते हुए, लेकिन ये सारे युद्ध तो मेरे ही बच्चे हैं। पवित्र पुस्तक के स्वर्गिक शब्द समान अक्षरों से बने हैं, झूठों और चोरों के द्वारा अपमान के बदले फेरी वाले भ्रष्ट और भ्रष्ट लोग मानो हम केवल नबी थे, रहस्योद्घाटन को देखते हुए खोए शब्दों को बाकियों के लिए छोड़ते। I read 5 pieces and beautiful,
Yes.
and
Thank you.
beautiful, isn't from Kais? His poem 60 love letters. 60 love letters are so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is in the English anthology I sent before. It is there. You know,
Mm,
in Arabic
mm.
it was 100 letters. But
Okay.
when I made the anthology, I took only 60 love letters to put in that certain one. And if you permit me, I will read Arabic of this
Please,
to
please,
finish my session.
please, please.
مائة رسالة إليها، يصعب أن نسمي الأشياء بأسمائها، يعصر أن يكون الحب مجرد حرفين في سرب الألف باء. لم أرى ندف الثلج القطنية على الزجاج ليلة عيد الميلاد، لم أقطف الفريز في مزارعه البعيدة، لم أعرف عدد بتلات النرجس البري، فكيف أشبه عناقنا بذوبان الندف على الزجاج وسريان مائها إلى حقول الفريز كي تنبت أوراق النرجس البري؟ هل هو كذب ضرورة الشعر أم أنه الحب؟ لا يعنيني أن أغير التاريخ أو أبدل العهود القديمة وأحرفها، جئتك كي نكتب تاريخا آخر أو نكونه. في الطريق إليك خضت 1000 معركة ومعركة، صراعات الأرض على قبلات المطر، بحث القطيع عن الكلأ واكترار الذكريات المؤلمة، وكان ذلك كله جهادي الأصغر. الكلمات السماوية في النصوص المقدسة تشكلها الحروف التي يتنابذ بها اللصوص والأفاقون والباعة الجوالون والفاسدون المفسدون، كأنه أوحي إلينا فتركنا لهم المفردات الضالة. It is the same vocabulary we write good things even the holy books, and it is the same vocabulary, and other words are used by thieves, by corrupted and corrupting people. So it's a story about the vocabulary actually.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
So at last, we want to listen your poem in your language, Frankai.
Thank you.
Me?
Yeah, your
Okay.
poem. You
If,
give your poem in your language.
okay, I'll have to go 1 second to get the book.
Okay.
Can you wait
Okay.
for me? I'll be right back.
Okay. So actually, these sessions are doing very well, and we are going to invite more people to do this experiments. And one thing, it is actually learning also that how the languages can communicate with each other. So how do you feel, Ashraf?
Yeah, and
How is
the
this?
good thing that Francoise was saying that everything can be translated, and even if this vocabulary word you mentioned, we can put some explanation so it can be also reproduced in another language.
Yeah.
So some words, as you were mentioning, Rati, some words are impossible to translate. So we have to find a linguistic gimmick to be able to translate it in another language, you know. And it's okay. I'm looking at the water wheel of the soul. I should have it here, or maybe I can read another poem from that book. Okay, I'll read a small one. Okay. Okay, I'll read this one. Cuarto embrujado. La bruja, acostada en la alcoba, mueve los brazos como si quisiera emprender el vuelo. Las estrellas que parecen puntear el cristal de la ventana no la detendrán y tampoco lo harán ni el padre ni la hija. Están demasiado lejos uno del otro, lejos, muy lejos el padre de la hija. Los enjambres de sílabas pobremente aladas del padre que podrían detener a la bruja no saldrán del cuarto. Mientras tanto, se acercan las estrellas formando una red. Y voy a acabar leyendo uno pequeño en francés. Bueno, no tan pequeño, pero no tan largo. I'm going to read in French a small one. Well, not that small, but okay. It's called Le mot cueillir. Un jour dont je ne connaissais pas encore la date, tu devras cueillir mes pas, mes mains et mes rêves, même ceux qui ne se sont jamais réalisés. Ils ont l'air d'un troupeau de chiens de berger, mais la retenue m'interdit d'en parler ouvertement. Ce jour-là, tu devras rassembler mes chimères qui ont balancé leur corps de chèvre et de lion sur le mur de la réalité, comme un oiseau s'écrase contre une vitre trop propre. Pas, mains, rêves et chimères, réunis en une gerbe comme des fleurs ou des têtes de blé, on dit des épis. Coquelicots rouges sur un tapis de gazon vert, rouge comme le cœur. Je dis cueillir au lieu de ramasser. Cueillir donne l'idée de douceur, non pas parce que le mot en soi vient de ma langue maternelle, ni parce qu'il est musical, mais parce qu'en conviennent le dictionnaire et l'usage linguistique. Et je sais que la fin doit forcément être douce. Je n'ai pas vécu violemment. Je ne suis pas passée par des chambres de torture qu'accidentellement, lorsqu'on cherchait un bouc émissaire comme l'enfant blond, aux cheveux bouclés, pour personnifier Saint Jean-Baptiste le jour de la procession. Peut-être la fin rassemblera-t-elle à un commencement. Thank you very much. It was so
Thank
nice
you.
to hear all these. You know, Spanish and Arabic, they share, because the Moors went to Spain so many centuries, they spent this
Yes.
sound from the throat, the ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For instance, the state where I live in Mexico, it's called Jalisco, and people in French and in English, they cannot pronounce that sound. They always
Jalisco.
pronounce it
Yeah.
wrong.
Jalisco.
Jalisco, which
Yeah.
means, well, the city where I live is Guadalajara.
Guadalajara, yes.
And they tell me in Arabic it means a river between stones, something like that.
Mm.
I don't know. And Hindi is completely different. The sound of Hindi is, as you were saying, it's like very delicate, like you're spitting a little bit.
I see. I see.
It's very nice
Yeah,
to hear.
many thanks. Thank you, and have a good day because you are starting your morning now.
Yes.
You go. You
Thanks
so
a lot. We
have
will
a
meet
good
Yeah,
day.
it
again.
was
We
very
will
early.
meet
I had
again.
to put the alarm clock to wake up and make sure that I was on.
But you, it is
Yeah.
sure that you will have a good day because you have started with the poetry.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much
We hope
with
so. Thank
both of
you.
us,
Bye.
and we will extend this translation effort.
Okay.
Of
Thank you
course.
very
Of
much.
course. Thank
Yes,
you.
I have an
Thank
idea.
you.
I will write you. Mhm.
Okay.
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 Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
Thank
so
you,
you.
much.
Ashraf. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Pankaj.
Bye.
And
Thank you.
bye bye. Bye
Bye bye. Bye bye.
bye.